Welcome back to the channel, all you beautiful people out there. And shout out to Scotland. Shout out to all my Scotland subscribers. We're smoking all my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty, greats, overachieving, never slacking. Listen, I need to get some. I was thinking I need to get some posters, like some real cool posters in the background, like maybe of some nice mountains in Scotland, or maybe something nice in the UK, and just I want to get like, since I'm all about travel, I'm thinking about putting some like fire posters in the background. I think that would be pretty cool and pretty fitting for this channel. But man, shout out to Scotland. I was actually just talking to my cousin about Scotland and how you got so many places that's free roam in Scotland. You got remember that if you're new to the channel, I did a video where it was about the free roam in Scotland, and man, they got a lot to offer. A lot to offer. But with that being said, original link will be in the description. Let's hop into this and let's find out why there's a straight line through Scotland.
If you look at a map of Scotland, you'll notice an almost perfectly straight line through the Highlands that cuts from coast to coast. This region is home to plenty of valleys and peaks, but this valley is eerily straight. Some interesting geology had to happen there at some point. And it wasn't just one event. About 520 million years ago, most of Earth's landmass was split between two big continents, Laurentia and Gondwana. This meant the modern-day island of Great Britain was separated, with the north of Scotland sitting on Laurentia and the southern half of the island on Gondwana. Then the two landmasses collided around 430 million years ago during a period known as the Caledonian Orogeny, which joined the two pieces through the collision, forming the island we now know as Great Britain. This process resulted in the crumple and buckle of the Earth's crust, which also formed new mountains and fault lines all around the world. One of those new faults was the Great Glen, which is a strike slip fault. This kind of fault happens when two tectonic plates shear or move horizontally past each other. Other types of faults typically move one of the plates vertically, which creates mountains and all kinds of elevated terrain above the fault. But because of how these two plates collided with each other during its formation, the pieces of the Great Glen fault move horizontally. And they've actually moved a few times since the formation of the fault. The Great Glen fault has occasionally reactivated, and the two landmasses, Laurentia and Gondwana, moved anywhere from 8 to 29 kilometers each time. This is a thing that faults do from time to dissipate built-up stress. When force is applied by the two landmasses punching against each other, stress is created. And when it reaches a tipping point, the plates shear and move in opposite directions to relieve that built-up stress. The biggest reactivation happened relatively recently, sometime in the last 66 million years, possibly prompted by other parts of Earth's crust spreading apart nearby. But why don't we see straight lines like this more often? Well, these days the Great Glen fault line is even more visible due to a string of lakes or lochs. That's because most of the islands of Great Britain and Ireland were covered in enormous ice sheets during a handful of ice ages over the last few 100,000 years. The glaciers around the Great Glen started receding over 10,000 years ago, carving a deep valley along the fault line that actually goes below sea level, making that straight line through Scotland even more visible. So this straight fault line is the product of 500 million
Below sea level is, wow, that's cool.
valley along the fault line that actually goes below sea level, making that straight line through Scotland even more visible. So this straight fault line is the product of 500 million years of time and geology, and it's evidence of the large-scale events that formed Earth as we know it today. Thank you for watching this episode of SciShow. At this point, we've made thousands of educational videos over the years, and we've been able to offer them for free because of our patrons on Patreon. So to all of our patrons, thank you for what you do to make SciShow happen. If you're not a patron, but you want to learn more about what that means, you can go to patreon.com/scishow.
So I accidentally clicked on a whole nother video. But so to make a long story short, you had these galactical wars going on, and people were just using all type of crazy technology and boop bop bing bop boop blah 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 blah. Listen, man, when I look, okay, so watching this video made me think of like Pangea, right? I always say I feel like humans are a lot older than we've ever been told, and yeah, I feel like that's why when you go around the world, you can just see so much similarities, with natives and aboriginals people through those ancient tribes. But that was a cool breakdown of why there's a line through Scotland. I feel like Scotland has so much ancient history, just history that you can't even learn unless you go there. Like Scotland is definitely a place that I would love to go and hike and camp and just take in their nature. I just feel like it will feel very magical. It feels like one of those special places to me. Now I could hey, someone could be looking at me like, hey, what is this kid talking about? Hey, that's just how I feel. I feel like Scotland is just one of those places that got a lot of hidden gems that you got to go there and kind of you got to learn about on your own. But with that being said, shout out to my Scotland subscribers. I definitely want to get more Scotland content. Definitely, because I'm just very interested in Scotland. For sure. So with that being said, original link will be in the description. And I'll be back with more soon. Much love, y'all.